Hello and welcome to Tool Tuesday. I just got a text from my assistant. She's like, it's almost 6. Are you going live? And I'm like, I'm sitting right in front of the computer. It's been a fun-filled day. So welcome. My name is Lene, owner of Growth Junkie Coaching, and I come on Tuesdays and Thursdays for sure to share a tool to elevate your consciousness, tools to ask questions to create greater possibilities, and I facilitate women to uncover, discover, discard, explore, acknowledge, ask questions, expand for greater awareness, for greater possibilities. And I coach here freely and show up. I have a phenomenal women's membership, and we have an upcoming class actually right now. If I have your email, you might have gotten it. It's called Blessed Possibilities. We start Thursday. It's the next 4 chapters. If you want to spend some time asking questions, looking at what you can be to create phenomenons in your life, or to be the phenomenons and be the phenomenal woman you are, but if you're hiding a little bit, we're going to talk about that. So there's a link somewhere around here. But let's see. Okay, tool. I'm going to sit real close because the sun of the evening is coming through my window. So I don't want too many dots. There we go. Alrighty. So the tool. It's not even really, well, we'll talk about a billion tools because that's what I do when I go live. But my topic for tonight was contraction. Yuck. Contraction, yuck. What the fuck? Okay, so where can I start on that one? I had 2 classes for myself. I am a growth junkie. I am constantly choosing to grow consciousness, to grow more tools, to grow more recovery, to grow and learn and more and all of that so that I can continue to share it. So I had 2 classes today, and they all talked about the energy of contraction, the energy of being contracted. So this could go, like I always say, I can always go so many different places, but if you are aware that anywhere in your life that you are contracted, okay, energetically, body-wise, I used to say to myself years ago, I would edit in my head everything before I spoke it, contracted. So again, so many places we can go with this, but the tool of awareness that I want you to look at today, to be aware of, is every place that you might be contracting. And what the fuck? What is that creating? And so when one of the teacher said today, when he said that, it was like, I just love that. Contraction, yuck. You know? And so, and where are you doing that? In my membership group, the energy that we look at changing is everywhere that we are playing smaller, everywhere that we're being smaller, our points of view of not being the tall poppy, in case you've ever heard the tall poppy syndrome, or the space where you know that there's so much more of you, but all the points of view and all of your thoughts and feelings and emotions around that are keeping you. That's limited beliefs. That is an energy that can be removed. I'm also, just to speak, I just signed up for this money course because I like this gal who's teaching it. It is not through Access, because I do a little bit of everything. And it's like, you know, the trend I know is online courses. People love those. As a coach, I offer those, but I still love groups and I love one-on-one. But so I signed up for this course, $555. Press the button and you have modules. I love what she has to say, but what I don't like about a lot of I don't even know, I like it a lot, but the missing piece is the tools that you can learn, the tools that you can have, the tools that you can know to actually remove that. Okay, she has great stuff and she has this amazing homework and she is a multi millionaire. Okay, truly. Okay, um, but that little piece, like if you can't get over the hump of what it is that where you want to expand and you're actually contracted, it's hard if you don't have tools and you don't have awareness to make that movement forward. So that's where energetic coaching comes in. So the tool of awareness for today is, what would it be like just to be aware of where you are contracted? And for some of us, we haven't even questioned if we're contracted or not. So that's like the first tool. If you choose and you would like to create, gosh, more money, healthier relationships, a larger business, connection with your kids. I mean, I can just go down my personal list. When we are functioning in this tight knit, have to get it all right ball. And what came up today with one of the classes was judgment. Not just judgment on ourselves. If you identify with judgment on yourself, please comment. And you could just put a thumbs up or say, yes, I do judge myself. I judge myself. I judge myself. And we were talking about it today. I'm like, I think I came into the world like that. Like I came in and I was like, I think the greatest thing I could possibly do is judge myself everywhere. And it wasn't until like the last few years, especially with these tools, I started to look at it like, what would it be like to not judge? What would it be like not to judge your body? Okay, as a recovering anorexic bulimic, which I don't share a ton, but I could. That is complete contraction, control, and a whole lot of other things. Okay, and I've come so far in the tools, consciousness, awareness, just asking the question, what would it be like? What would it be like to not all day long loop in my brain about judgment? I don't know if I've spoke to a lot of clients or women in my 30 years of transformational work where judgment doesn't, like where it sits out there in the front. So everything we're doing, we're pushing through this energy of judgment. And that's where coaching comes in energetically, or using these tools. They become part of our lives where you ask the question, what would it be like during the day? Like if I have that moment, if I'm judging my work, if I'm judging what I'm creating, I'm judging blah, blah, blah. I mean, the list, I stop for just that moment and go, just that moment. That's called consciousness. That's called awareness. That's called elevating, where I'm like, oh my crap, what the fuck? I am stuck in judgment. And I know that even the question of what would it be like to not judge yourself brings up so much. It brings up so much. I understand and know that not everybody's willing to go there. But if you ask and you want to create something greater with total ease, consciousness, question, will open up. I saw the teacher today describe something. We use the word for greater possibilities. Okay, all my clients will all say, what else is possible? What is, what's possible? Instead of going, why did this happen? Why judging ourselves for wrong? We put it into a question form of what else is possible. And I loved the way that he described it today. In this reality, we don't seek for possibilities until we choose to be conscious and in question. We choose constantly for how to do something right so that we don't get it wrong. Okay? It's just the way it is. So, what we're looking for in the work here is possibilities. And it's when you ask a question, what would it be like not to judge myself? Like just for the next hour? What would it be like? just bringing that question into our space allows, like he described it, like judgment being this little teeny point, and everything goes to that energetic point. And it does, because that's what energy does. We put the focus on that judgment. And when we ask, what would it be like not to judge business, life, work, bodies, everything? For that moment, that POC and POD energetic moment, when we destroy and uncreate that energy consciously, it opens up. These are how the molecules, this is how these quantum particulates, Mobius strips, you don't need to know all that, but you can. I like to understand that and perceive that. So you ask a question and it pops up. I feel like I pop my head up, right? And what happens is this little teeny point, energies of possibilities, even, and you don't have to understand it, but you might. It's like these little teeny spots all out here in the universe where it's open and we're all contracted. It's like, what would it be? What would it be like not to judge everything I do? What would it be like not to judge my business? There's just, I could keep going. But in that moment of that question, possibilities, they literally come from everywhere. And then we wait for that awareness. We don't jump in immediately to try and get it wrong. We're just asking to elevate something else that's possible, to be with that. Okay? I have a saying in recovery for many years is, especially if someone just rams the crap out of you with a point of view, a judgment or an opinion, or they're pissed or whatever, and most of the time it's never about us. I have a rule to not respond for 48 hours. I may acknowledge it and go, I hear you, I got your message. But when that comes at you, okay, we go into this place of contraction. We go into this place of like, what did I do wrong? Blah, 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 blah. And so I used to teach that too. In business, it's like 24 to 48 hours before you engage into the energy of what could be possible, because you're trying to figure it out. That was so not where I was going to go with that, but for some reason somebody, I guess, needed to hear that, is always giving yourself the space, open up, to just be able to, like, let me sit with that. Okay, the worst thing we can do is go right into the fight. So let me kind of wrap this up. Contraction, yuck. Expansion, yay. And it's a practice. And just asking a question, and because when we contract and we go into judgment, there is no space for possibilities. They can fit in energetically. I used to function from there, and I could find them, but there was no ease, there was no joy, and there was no glory. There was just hard struggle. So everywhere that you have a point of view, in order to be successful or to create, it has to be hard. Would you please destroy and uncreate that? Right and wrong, good and bad, pod, poc, all nine shorts, boys and beyond. Poc and pod creates this place. It's an energy diffuser, where all of a sudden you have a space to look at something else. So one of the calls we had today, we were looking at judgment. We were looking at being the space of, infinite, expansion coming in. And I wrote, because we were talking, there were so many of us, there was like 46 people on this call. This is with my personal coach. And I said, I still have this belief, it doesn't matter, I'm not going to judge it big or small, it's there, that I can't choose ease completely, because that, I used to have this thing that like, it's just not possible. In order to have something, to generate something, it has to be hard. I don't know where I bought that from. And I continue to destroy and uncreate it, but it still pops up. So what if all of that didn't have to be hard? What if it didn't? And we chose to ask questions. We chose to look at it. We chose to be conscious. We don't have to do anything right away, but just be aware. We always said this in recovery too. 95% of awareness, we would say recovery. 95% of awareness is consciousness. That's really what it means, consciousness. And once we have that, we can choose something different. So in there was a lot of tools. So, hi Kim. So there we go. So if you feel yourself contracted, there's so many places to go with that. Your awareness level, the energy healer, the empath you are, your points of view. But if you find yourself holding back, just energetically, it's like, I just want you to say contraction, yuck. What the fuck? Or you can just go WTF or what the heck, whatever you want to. But sometimes words like that have an impact to shift things. So contraction, yuck, expansion, yay! So there you go, and we will be doing that in the class that's coming up on Thursday for 4 weeks, talking about happiness, limitations, judgments, the energy of saving people, and moving beyond belief into phenomenons, the energy of expansion, and rejecting and receiving. So just a few little light subjects. Alrighty, well, thank you for stopping in. I appreciate it, and I do absolutely love, not everybody comments that they listen to me, and I understand that, but it is nice for me to see that. And I get private messages, so appreciate that. And where was I the other day? Where was I? I was somewhere, and sometimes I forget how live I am. Probably need that class. Yeah, Kim, it's the next 4 chapters. So there's a link. Sign up. As a member of the Phenomenal Women, you guys get a huge discount. So, and that's, in 30 days you can change anything, and that's what we do in that group. But I was somewhere the other day. It happens all the time, and someone says, I saw your video, and it really made a difference, or I really need to hear it. And I'm live everywhere all the time, so I'm like, what video was that? And I'm so glad that I get to be a contribution. So that's about me being willing to be not contracted, whereas I spent a lot of time of my life because I was afraid, I was nervous, I was scared, I was full of doubt, all of that. And those are just energetic distractors. Today, what would it be like not to judge yourself in those areas, and how good it feels to not be contracted, but to be expansive. Okay, stalker viewers, love that. And here's the thing, this is a closed group, so only those who I choose come in here. Different on YouTube, I'm sure, but they don't have my direct contact. Alrighty, I appreciate you all. And what else is possible? What else is possible? And that's a question. That is not an exclamation. It is a question. What else is possible that you have never, ever imagined? Okay, see you all later. Bye.